Okay. So today we are going to be getting ready to put all the zip tape on the exterior. So what we have to do first is route out all of the window and door openings. So we're going to go ahead and route those out first. And then we'll go ahead and start taping all the seams. The method we're using to cut out our window and door openings right now is using a router with a flush cut bit. This bit is basically a cylinder with a ball bearing on the end. That way you can't cut in further than what that ball bearing is resting against. In this case, that's our rough opening. It creates a lot of sawdust, which is why we're wearing those goggles, so it might look funny, but it kept a lot of sawdust, as you can see, from getting in our eyes. After getting all of our window and door openings cut out, we then moved on to taping the seams of the zip. We didn't tape the window openings quite yet, we'll get to that in a second, but we went through and taped all the other seams. It's really important when you're putting this tape on to make sure it's shingled correctly, meaning you put on the lower section first, and then when you put on the section above that, it overlaps that lower section so water runs down and it doesn't get stuck on the edge of one of your pieces of tape. Okay, so we have for a while been trying to figure out how we're going to waterproof this corner going from the roof to the wall. I think we use 6-inch zip tape. So 3 inches would be on one side, 3 inches would be on the other side. But that was terrible to work with. It was so hard to do, so we just gave up with that. And I think the way we're gonna have to do this is with just regular metal flashing, taping the edge of it. So we're gonna nail the flashing up and then tape the edge. So we'll come back because tape will cover all that, so we'll just do it right up to the edge. I nailed this piece of flashing into the studs using galvanized nails. It was kind of hard to get it through that sheet metal at first, but I just had to whack it pretty good. And as you can see here, I made a mistake where I didn't shingle the flashing correctly, and that bottom flashing is over that top flashing, meaning if water were to run down that valley like it would run underneath the flashing. So that wouldn't be good, so I went through and changed that. Then I went through and taped the edges like I talked about, and I did go back and tape the seams between those two flashings and at the bottom and the top. That way no water's getting in anywhere. When we've had big storms without our walls being taped, this junction has been one of the main sources of water intrusion into the house because our prevailing winds come from the west, which pushes water right up against that wall and then it runs down and into the house. So this will be nice to have this flashing in place so that water's not getting into the house right there anymore. Okay. After getting that flashing in, I just finished taping the walls, and one thing I forgot to mention that's super important, if you haven't already seen it all over the tape, you need to roll the tape. This tape is pressure sensitive like I've talked about before, so it needs pressure on it to properly adhere to the sheathing. So if you don't roll it, it won't adhere right, it will come off and you'll get water intrusion behind it. That wall's now waterproofed. It's awesome. And then for the corners, we used 6-inch wide zip tape. That way we know we had good adherence to each side of the corner of the zip when we put it on. It's going to be nice and air and watertight there. After getting all the walls taped, we moved on to windows. We flashed our rough opening in our windows to get ready for the installation. So we're having the stretch tape come up about 3 or 4 inches on the sides. That way we can get it around the corner, and then we'll overlap it with zip tape. So we're going to make sure it's the same height on this side, a couple inches, 3 or 4 inches, and then we'll cut it off. Then we'll come back in with a pencil, and I'm just going to make a line where this is going to go. That way I can follow it when I stick the tape down. So mark these on both sides, and then what we're going to do, hi Maple.
How did she get up here?
She climbs the ladder.
No.
No, Chelsea brought her up.
Hi, baby.
Okay.
The last time she was up here was just up for.
Okay. It's a little weird pulling the backer off the stretch tape because it stretches a little bit when you do that, so I just let it relax and then stick it down. It's also really nice to have that pencil line along the back as a reference point. That way you know you're not getting the tape super crooked. So then you start in the middle, pull it down, stick it on, pull down, stick it on, all the way across. The corners, you take it, and since it's stretchy, you just stretch it out the corner and stick it on. That way you don't have to have multiple pieces coming in. After it's all done, make sure you roll it. After flashing the bottom of the rough opening of the window, I then go back with regular zip tape along the sides. This overlaps that bottom tape that we put on, shingling it correctly, so if any water does get in, it will run right out, and it also air seals that corner.
Inflation for the wall is like $1,700 for all the walls. And then she's checking on inflation for the roof.
And then as you can see here, we flash the door openings the same way we do the windows, with the stretch tape on the bottom and then the zip tape going up the sides. I do have to say that the stretch tape makes it really easy to flash these. If you have to use several pieces of tape or make cuts in your tape at that bottom corner, you're just asking for water to get in. And using the stretch tape makes it so you have one cohesive unit, so no water is going to get into those corners. Oh yeah, this is good.
Let's get to it.
Thanks for watching, guys. I know I said we had a lot of fun stuff coming up, and taping walls might not seem very fun to you, but it's fun to us. We also have insulation coming up. We have window installations coming up. We have getting our water system in, getting power in. We have a lot of things coming up, so stay tuned. I think insulation's going to be next, so look out for that window. Look out for that window. Look out for that video next week. Leave any comments in the description. If you have any questions, make sure you like our videos and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And have a good one.